Hey everyone, so I'm starting to notice small, subtle changes in how people react to me. And I think it's because of small, subtle changes I've been making slowly over time. And I've been working on this, just surrounding myself with people, being more social, observing and understanding people, and so forth, and learning about women. And I'll give you an example. Um, when I walk past people, now what I do is I make eye contact and sometimes I smile. And oftentimes because my grooming and how I dress, how I look, it's gotten better. I do think all these things add up and people are just usually more friendly. Oftentimes they will say hi first when they see me look at them and smile. And otherwise I'll say hi and then they'll say hi to me. And it's all these subtle things, whereas before I was, I guess, more shy, or if I were to talk to someone, I'd just be very shy, and then all of a sudden work up the courage and then boom, say something. And again, my fashion sense and all this other stuff and my confidence was worse off. Not saying I'm that much better now. And my conversational skills, I do think I've been working on a bit. So again, I found I can't keep a conversation going or even started with everyone. But I can, I know what to say or talk about, and I'm getting much better with small talk. Small talk, I think, is very important because um, it's casts a wide net, and from there you can slowly whittle down to things you have in common or things you're very passionate about, and it's kind of like two dogs sniffing each other's tails. Um, you're kind of sniffing that person out, and just talking or interacting with another person, there's so much that goes on under the surface. And for a lot of women, it's oftentimes unconscious, a lot of the things. So just by interacting with a person, you can kind of get a feel for how they are, what type of personality they are, if they're upbeat, downbeat, confident, shy, masculine, assertive. Um, you can get a feel for their body movement, how they express their body language, and obviously, very importantly, is how they say things rather than what they say. But at the same time, you can get a sense of their wit, their humor, their intelligence. Intelligence can be gauged very quickly, according to studies, just based off very quick conversations. You can get a gauge for a lot of things, where they're at in life, their status, what they're doing, if they have passion, ambition, and then on a subconscious level, body movement. Again, I'm working on all this small, subtle stuff in terms of how I present myself, style, fashion, grooming, how I take care of myself, my posture, how I present myself. Do I have manners? And I do think, I've been working or understanding these things and then working on them has improved because now I learned that you don't have to be an asshole or rude, and you don't have to pretend to be rude to get a girl. And trying to pull out the insecurities of a girl, like you see these some people doing it, and I've learned that that works on a very small percentage of women, and just having manners, being nice, things that I thought were maybe bad at one point, I realized that they're girls value these things, just like not to the point of being a uh, people pleaser or a doormat or someone who puts you on a pedestal. Um, and so I'm starting to exemplify these things and then work to my strengths and then cover up my weaknesses. So intelligence is one of my strengths. Weaknesses, grooming, style, appearance. Um, I could work on my humor, uh, not taking things so seriously, being less needy, um, being less approval seeking, and being more carefree and outcome independent. And again, it's all these subtle things like saying something and then like almost gauging for their reaction like this, and then like how you lean your body in. Is it like almost like subservient or like more like laid back? So again, like all these things help, and what I've also learned is that many things are out of your control, no matter what happens. The girl may just be racist. The girl just may not like that ethnicity. there's so many different looks out there. Perhaps you're just not her type of look. Um, there's so many different body shapes, outfits, and so forth. And perhaps you're just not the guy that she likes, or she's just not interested right now because she's fully satisfied with what she has in terms of her dating life. There's many things out of your control. So again, there's no 100% or even close to it. But I've been working on all these small, subtle, marginal things, and I do think they've added up and they've helped a bit. Um, Now I do think the issue is just finding places to meet women and practice and go on dates and all that sort of stuff. Because through my observations, I don't think, like, generally speaking, like a lot of guys who get with hot girls, like they're not like excessively amazing in everything. Like, generally speaking, they usually have their bases covered, and then they're average or above average. They're above average in a couple categories. Maybe their looks, maybe their humor, um, and then a bunch of marginal stuff they have on point, or they're good enough, more so than other guys. The rest of us who are just floundering around, such as they are man enough to actually do anything, ask the girl out, talk to the girl, be comfortable around the girl, and be able to talk to her normally and not be intimidated by her. So again, I'm working all these stuff, and I mean, a lot of these things I still kind of suck at. But yeah, I think it's all very interesting, and I think I'm working on all this stuff. It's like, you know, I think it all very much matters, and so much of it is communicated naturally without you actually having to verbally state it. So, for instance, again, approval seeking and being subservient or too clingy, it has to do a lot with genetic wiring and why it disgusts girls. Um, Again, I thought a lot about this, and some of the big reasons I think are desperation, lack of value, lack of options, a lot of things that just appease girls or just make them think that, okay, I've got this guy under my hand, and um, it's just he's not emotionally stable enough, and he isn't secure enough in himself. So it's a lot of these small things, and I do think girls naturally kind of test you for this, without, I mean, they consciously know, but I don't think they know all the deep reasons genetically and evolutionarily why they do it. But I do think there's a lot of subtle tests here and there just to see, like, can you lead? Can you be masculine? How do you interact with your friends? Another great test that they do is sometimes they will, not all girls do this, but they will see, are you someone who is a person who will brag to all his friends about his sexual escapades? And she will ask you about your past relationships and so forth to see if you are willing to divulge that. And therefore, they'll know whether or not they can trust you, or if they do anything with you, that everyone else will know. So I think it's all very interesting, and as you can tell, it's just so much information. Honestly, I do think I need to take a break from all of it. But long story short, a lot of small, subtle things are very useful, and a lot of I definitely think there's a lot of information that I've taken in that is only useful for certain situations. But long story short, small, subtle things, neediness, humor, eye contact is huge. Very good eye contact. I think, a few years ago, my eye contact would have been looking at the floor a lot, or just like looking away or nervous. But now I have this very strong visual eye contact. Um, and I'm incorporating a bunch of marginal things that all add to the picture, like how Bill Clinton, when he is talking to you, you have his full attention. It almost seems like nothing else in the world even exists because of his full attention to you. And that combined with all his other features just makes you feel incredible. So I'm trying to work on that as well. And all these marginal things. And I do think, the more I think about it, I really do think that you don't need to be, um, you can take this too far and compare yourself to, like, the top person in every field. And I don't think you need that. to get a girl. Unless you want like the highest status, richest, most famous, accomplished, and fairly attractive girl in the world, you know, you don't need to be 10 out of 10 out looks, 10 out of 10 in making money, 10 out of 10 in confidence, body language, body movement, fashion, style sense, grooming, humor, and all these things. You know, a lot of these high status people, they're lacking in a lot of areas, but generally speaking, they have most of their bases covered on average. So I think it's very important to work on what you're lacking in. Make some more friends. If you're just a complete loner, I do think it can help you in terms of just emotional stability, health, happiness. Um, it can be appealing to girls to know that you have friends. You know, they're marginal stuff, but again, it can help. And I do think I've learned a lot in terms of actually understanding that making friends with guys and girls, attractive girls, girls you don't find attractive, is very, very helpful. Um, and just being friends with them. Like, I do think that some people, they will never get to a certain level with women because they only view women as sexual objects and they have no female friends whatsoever and they can't make any female friends. And if they do, it's like one or two or three or five, or uh, there's always some ulterior motive there. Um, and I think that's completely wrong. If you can have like 30 solid, attractive female friends that you are just friends with, that you're like good friends with, and you hang around and have activities with, like that in itself, I don't think you have, it will solve a lot of problems that you have in the dating scene. So again, you know, having just being able to get there, you kind of have to have a mindset of like, well, um, I'm really not trying to sleep with any of these girls and so forth. It's not a necessity. Remember, none of these things are necessities to get with girls, but it can help. Ideally, I do think, you know, if you had to pick, I this is something I would never do. I would encourage you to get both, but if you had to pick between 30 female friends you find attractive and like one girl you can really go on a date with and you really enjoy and you've shown your interest, I would pick maybe the girl because you can make more friends. But at the same time, maybe not, because if these are high quality, high status, attractive group of 30 female friends, then that's hard to come by and hard to achieve. You know, I can always approach a girl and get her number and go on a date, but that solid group, that solid social network takes time to form. So again, it's a toss up, and I do think generally speaking both have their values. So again, long story short, you know, I do think I'm seeing small subtle changes, and